and it was up till I graduated from the 9th grade. And then my father got me a job, the long distance telephone office. And I was scared to death. My dad came to the house and he took me by the hand, took me down to the office. He took me to the head lady. It's cute as a bug what my dad did. Of course, my dad, I was the only one that ever lived. I was to my dad. You know what I'm trying to say? My dad was nobody living as good as me. And he took me by the hand and we went to the head man in the long distance telephone office. And by that time, I'm going on 11 or 12 years old. And my dad took me by the hand and he said, and I'm getting you a job. And we walked into the head man of the long distance telephone office on 11th and Alder, 2nd floor. And I didn't know what was going, and my dad introduced me to the head lady on the desk, and he said, this is my daughter Mamie, and I want her to work in this building. Well, anyway, the woman took my name and my address and my name, and the next morning, at 11 o'clock, I was at work, and I worked 11 to 3 on a long distance board to San Francisco. And you had to put the deers around you. And I had never done it in my life. But anyway, and my ear of trumpets and my speaker. And I talked to everybody in San Francisco and I ran the board like as if I had always known it. That was the way I had long distance telephone office. And I was really a champ at that when I think of it now.
Well, didn't you work?
I could take any board and run it. And you'd sit with the gear all on your head and in your mouth, you know, for you to listen and for you to talk and everything like that. But I learned it just like that. And I always considered myself a dummy. But boy, they moved me from one chair to the other. And there was a chair like that that you did nothing but talk to Spokane. There was a talk like that, you did nothing but talk to San Francisco, and they put me on the San Francisco board. That's what they thought of me, and I always considered myself a dummy.
Was that the big board? That was the best one to work? Or?
Well, there were boards. There were 12 of us. There are 12 boards, and there's 4 on this side, 8 boards, 4 here, and 4 on this side, each one with a different Spokane, Seattle, San Francisco, Walla Walla. Well, I could go down with all our states. All our states, every state had a board, see? And you had to know how to run that.
Weren't you in San Francisco when the earthquake happened or something?
San Francisco, you keep the deal here, you're listening in your mouthpiece.
Well, weren't you there when the earthquake happened?
Well, you talked to the woman at the board, and Mr. So-and-so wishes to speak to Mr. So-and-so in Portland, Oregon. Or the man in Portland, Oregon presses San Francisco board and wishes to speak to Mrs. So-and-so in San Francisco. See, you're in Portland and all that. And then I got switched from all of them. And the hardest one I had was when they moved me to a board that you called Bend, Oregon. And Bend, Oregon, from Portland, Oregon to Bend, Oregon, the wire was thinner than you can see because Bend was hardly on the map. But that's where the first cattle in Oregon. People in Bend owned cattle and more cattle. And when San Francisco got bored of it, that there was cattle in Bend, Oregon, and I'm on the San Francisco board, every call I had was ring Bend. And I'd ring, and there'd be no answer because there's nobody sitting in the office in Bend. It was just like a dead spot out there and everything. But finally, and before I knew it, why, they were cows coming every day from Bend being shipped to San Francisco. I had that board for about 1.5 years of that San Francisco board. And it came as natural to me as I am speaking to you, because I had my headgear on and my ear trumpets and my speaker for my mouth, you know,
Mhm.
and everything. And